We are currently living in a society that is so focused on outwards aesthetics. So I think there is also a driving need for people more interested in things like laser surgery or injectables like Botox or filler from a much, much younger age than we've seen before. So, despite the lure of magical remedies and luxurious concoctions, avoiding skin damage and combating the signs of aging don't need to be so expensive. Budget products can be equally as effective as their more expensive counterparts. The focus shouldn't be on the cost of the product. Wearing a good quality sunscreen, SPF minimum 30, ideally 50, throughout the year. The reason for that is that 80%, 90% of the signs that we associate with skin aging occur directly because of sunlight. So we're talking fine lines, wrinkles, pigmentation. Number two is the use of a vitamin A based product or a retinoid. One doesn't need to spend a fortune. And probably once you're spending beyond more than 25, 30 pounds on a product, it's probably unnecessary. Most of what the general public knows about daily life in ancient Rome comes from art, architecture, and literature, which tell us more about the elites, especially the goings on of the emperors. But how much do we know of the lives of ordinary Romans? Did they have a voice, apart, that is, from what we can gather from graffiti? The usual picture is one of time spent at festivals, baths, and typically the games. However, for many Romans, terrible living conditions, poverty, debt, and the chance of being sold into slavery at any moment, that is, if they weren't slaves already, left no time or energy for such forms of entertainment, or for any interest in politics, for that matter. Indeed, after the death of Augustus, executive power was taken from the elected assemblies of the Roman people. Now, it was the emperor's job to look after the people, and his generosity often depended on the mood and behavior of the people, on how often and how violently they protested and rioted. One example would be Cloxius ensuring a steady grain supply, even in winter, after rioters pelted him with stale crusts of bread. There is an anecdote about Hadrian. While touring the provinces, an old lady approached him with a complaint. He made excuses and tried to get away. She said that if he wouldn't give her a hearing, he shouldn't be emperor. She got her hearing. What else can we do about noise? Well, very much like a carbon footprint, we all have a noise footprint, and there are things we can do to make that noise footprint smaller. For example, don't start mowing your lawn at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Your neighbors will thank you. Or use a rake instead of a leaf blower. In general, noise reduction at the source makes the most sense. So whenever you're looking to buy a new car, air conditioning unit, blender, you name it, make low noise a priority. Many manufacturers will list the noise levels the devices generate, and some even advertise with them. Use that information. Many people think that stronger noise regulation and enforcement are good ideas, even obvious solutions perhaps. But it's not as easy as you may think, because many of the activities that generate noise also generate revenue. Think about an airport and all the business that is associated with it. Our research tells politicians at what noise level they can expect a certain health effect, and that helps inform better noise policy. Robert Koch supposedly once said, "One day, mankind will fight noise as relentlessly as cholera and the pest." I think we are there, and I hope that we will win this fight. And when we do, we can all have a nice, quiet celebration. Now let's turn to the second question. Could it be that these psychological consequences of poverty have implications for economic decision making that make it hard to escape poverty? And there's two ways that you might imagine this could happen. The first is that the stress that's brought on by poverty might affect economic choices in subtle ways. And there's now evidence suggesting that when you're under stress, you're much more impatient than you are when you're not stressed. And that's not a good thing if you're supposed to make long-term decisions and investments in things like healthcare and education. And so poverty causes stress, stress makes you impatient. And then that impatience doesn't help you to lift yourself out of poverty. But there's a second sense in which the psychological consequences of poverty might exacerbate poverty. And that is that they may simply incapacitate you. So when chronic stress turns into full-fledged clinical depression, it's very hard for people to keep earning a living. So you don't think your efforts will amount to anything. No amount of information about returns to education can convince you otherwise. It's hard for you to even get out of bed in the morning, and your livelihood crumbles. So this is bad enough when you're wealthy, but it's worse when you're poor, and you don't have as much of a safety net to fall back on. So as a result of this, there's a silent epidemic of depression among the poor. And that's the problem not only for psychological well-being, but also for economic outcomes. The idea is that you experience awe in situations where it's important to be acquiring information that you can use later. It makes sense. If something is awe inspiring because it doesn't fit with your understanding of the world, that's probably something that you should know more about if you want to survive. The feeling of awe directs your attention away from yourself and toward your environment so you can acquire more information about this new, possibly life changing thing, whether it's positive or negative. So it might have given us a social advantage or an intellectual advantage, or maybe some combination of both. But no matter why the emotion evolved, we know that it's incredibly powerful to the point that it can totally hack your brain and body. For one thing, it can improve your physical health. It's been linked to lower levels of inflammation, which plays a role in all sorts of illnesses. Awe can also change your perception of what's causing events to unfold. Studies have found that it makes people more likely to interpret a series of events as the consequence of something intentional, as opposed to random chance. It's all part of the search for an explanation for something your brain is struggling to comprehend, which could help us explain why religion is a thing.
If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more PTE-related content. Don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what you think or if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. I will meet you soon at our next video.